Hey friends, and welcome back to Find Yourself in a Character, my weekly video series that takes us on an exploration of some of my favorite characters and their journeys. I'm Jenny D, author, consultant, and international promoter of Love and Triumph. In this week's episode, I'll be talking about The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This is the prequel to The Hunger Games for any of you familiar with that series. And I'm a big fan of the movies. I will admit I didn't read the books beforehand because I don't always live in this century and get the literature that I'm supposed to. Trying to catch up to that now. But I love the movies and I loved the whole concept of it. And so when I saw the prequel came out, I had to read it before it turned into a movie. And man, it did not disappoint. So this premise is that it's set back about around the 10th Hunger Game when Coriolanus Snow, I don't know how to say his name. I keep calling him Cornelius. So we might just go with that, okay? So, or just call him Snow. So Snow is a young man. He's in school, not yet in college. And so he lived a life during the war. And so it's a look back at his beginnings and then how he played a role in how the modern day Hunger Games came to be, like some of his ideas. So what happened throughout most of this book was that he was part of the first group of mentors for the tributes. And it stemmed from school kids, not from past victors. And so he got assigned this bizarre girl from District 12, and he wanted to try to prove himself because his whole family name was on the line, and you see his humble beginnings. And it was really, really interesting to see that the person that I saw in the movies had nothing to do with how he started. But you see how events and circumstances led him down this path to be this president that we all despised. And it was interesting because, you know, it's through this tribute, Lucy Baird, who is an unexpectedly sweet little songbird. And so like the title comes from like, she's a songbird and she introduces him to like, you know, the mockingjay and the bird and the concept of it. And she's got a way with snakes and it's all this stuff that, you know, not trying to give any spoilers, but it helps her to succeed as much as she can, right? And so it's unexpected. And you see this relationship form between us, and it's really sweet between them, and it's really sweet and endearing. And you watch how this all unfolds. And what was most fascinating about this book is that I love the connections that it explains about the future movies and books, like how certain songs came to be, where his hatred of the mockingjay came from, where Katniss, the name, originated from. It's actually some kind of, I think, potato plant. So it was really neat to see some of that tie-in from the future franchise into this prequel, to see how all these little different seeds were planted, like the betting and how the Capitol got more involved, how it got more televised, and, you know, the inner workings of how peacekeeping works. And it just really was such a great read. I loved it. I can't wait for the movie adaptation of it. So anyone who is a fan of the Hunger Games, I highly recommend that you check this out. It does not disappoint. It gives some cool little explanations of what we see to come. And yeah, I loved it a lot. So if you're interested in learning more about me, I am Jenny D. You can find me at www.jennydauthor.com. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next week on Find Yourself in a Character.